everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I figured since I have some new subscribers, it'd be a good time to just kind of let you know what I'm about and why I'm here. So let's get right into this tag. The first question is, why did you start this channel? So I have been in the YouTube community for about 4 years now. I started with my mommy channel, the Mommy Spot, when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I just loved the support. I loved meeting other YouTubers and talking to other moms, and it was just like this awesome community. So I've always been into YouTube and having a YouTube channel. It's always been a part of me. Booktube, I didn't even know it existed until maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I stumbled across some Booktube videos, and I was watching them at a time in my life where I was almost done student teaching, and so, you know, the end of my college career, about to graduate, finally feeling like I have time to leisurely read again, because I've been in college for 6 years and I always felt like I had so much other stuff to do and I didn't have time to just read a book for my pleasure. So when I stumbled across these Booktube videos, which I didn't even mean to, I don't even know what I was looking for, but I stumbled across it and I was like, I kind of feel like reading. Like, that's just, it wasn't even like, oh, I'm gonna start a Booktube channel. It was, hey, I think I'm gonna order a book off Amazon and read it. Did that. And then I was like, I wonder what other people thought about this book that I read. So I looked that up on YouTube and I was like, oh, that's awesome. I can actually like hear what other people have to say about the same book that I've read. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start a Booktube. I'm gonna do it. To answer the question, why do I have this channel? Because I love hearing what other people have to say about the same books that I've read. I love hearing different opinions. I think it's so interesting that how two people can read the exact same book and have totally different opinions over that book. I also wanted to start this channel so that I could broaden my horizons, so that I could start reading different things that maybe I wouldn't have read before. I also had the idea that, you know, having a Booktube channel as a 5th grade teacher, I'll be teaching 5th grade next year, is a really good way to share my love of reading with my students. It's a really good way for me to practice what I preach, for me to tell my students, hey, you know what, I read all the time. In fact, I have a Booktube. Let me pull up this video of a book talk that I did last month. I mean, obviously I'd have to pick out ones where I don't say the F word. Sometimes I say the F word, guys. I'm trying to get better at it, but sometimes it just comes out. But for real though, like, I just think that's perfect. It's a perfect way of really practicing what you preach. Reading, you want your students to read, so you should be reading as well. So that's just kind of a big picture. There's a couple of reasons of why I started this Booktube channel, but the main reason is because it's fun. I've always loved creating videos and talking to a camera and talking to people online. So it's fun and I love reading, so why not? Question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? So this question is kind of hard, right? I think it's hard because I feel like every single Booktuber that I have looked up, that I have subscribed to, every single one of them is so different, and they all have different tastes and they have different content. I mean, they all have like the hauls and, you know, the TBRs for the month, but the way that they share those things are all different. So I guess to answer this question is, I'm just gonna be myself, and by being myself, I hope to bring fun and unique things to Booktube just through being me, because I'm not the same as you, or the same as that person, or the same as that person. So of course I'm gonna bring some fun and unique things to Booktube. So it's not really, I kind of skirted around that question, but that's what you get for that one. Question number 3 is, what are you most excited about for this new channel? I am excited about a lot of things. I'm really excited about expanding my horizons for the types of books that I read. I've already done that, and I've only had this channel for like a month, and I feel like I've read so many books that I just would not have picked up For example, since I'm like, I don't know why I had in this mindset that I'm too old for YA books and I can't read YA books anymore because I am an adult and I have a kid, and I would not ever even go into the YA section at the bookstore. But ever since YouTube, I'm like, oh, lots of people read YA, so let me try it out. And so now that's the first section I go to in the bookstore, let's be honest. Number two, I'm really excited about just the community, the Booktube community that I will get to be a part of with this new channel. I've already really enjoyed all the comments that I've been getting on my videos. Just people say, oh, you didn't like that book? I enjoyed that book. Or, oh, you're really gonna love that one. Da, 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 da. I love that. Because I feel like in my real life, there's only a couple people who are really into books like I am. So I don't have anyone to just talk to about what I read. My husband likes to read nonfiction, boring stuff. No, there's nothing wrong with nonfiction. But his tastes are just totally different, so we never read the same book, so we can never talk about the books that we're reading. So I'm so excited that with this new channel, I have a whole brand new group of people that I can talk to about everything books. It's super materialistic, but I'm really excited about having an excuse to buy new books. Honey, I have to buy this book because I really want to be able to show it in my video and I want to read it and talk about it, so I have to buy it. I mean, I'm being honest, guys. I'm being straight up with you. I like to buy new books, and having a booktube channel, I feel like gives me a really good excuse for why I need to buy my books. I feel like it's valid. Not that there's anything wrong with the library, because I have a few library books up here because I love me some library books as well, because sometimes that bank account is a little tight. Can't really afford that Amazon half-price books all the time. So the next question is, why do you love reading? And that's just simple for me. I loved getting sucked up into a world that is not my own. I love when you're reading a book and you forget that you're reading a book. Does that make sense? You're seeing everything in your head and you're just reading, and next thing you know, you're 100 pages in and you're like, I just sat down. That's the coolest. I love that about reading. So when you're watching Netflix and you're marathoning a TV show, you just you're sitting there, and after hour 3, you're like, what am I doing with my life? Why is this my life? I have not done anything today. That's how it feels to me, at least, when I sit and watch TV for 3 hours, which I've done several times. But when you're reading a book for 3 hours and you turn that last page and you finish it, you feel so completed. You feel like you've done something worthwhile. You've made yourself smarter. You've increased your vocabulary. You've maybe increased your reading speed, your comprehension. It's awesome. So feels good. It feels good to read. It feels good to finish a book, I think. What do you think? Yeah? No? Maybe? The next question is, what book or book series got you into reading? And this question was the reason why I wanted to do this tag. Because, okay, when I was a little girl, I did a lot of theater. I was from a really small town, so I had to travel really far to perform in these shows that I was in, and my grandma would take me all the time to all these different shows, to my rehearsals and everything. There was one play that I was in that was in Topeka, Kansas, which is about 2 hours away from where we live. So we were at rehearsal and it started snowing really, really bad. So we had to stay in a hotel room because we couldn't drive home that night. So we slept in the hotel, and that next morning we went to the mall. It was right by the hotel, so it was easy to get to. And she went to the store and she purchased Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So we sat down on a bench at the mall and she began reading this book to me. My earliest memories of me falling in love with the book was my grandma reading me this. She read it to me. We read the whole book in one day. We just sat there on that bench in the mall and she read to me. And I was hooked. And I was in love. This was the first book that made me fall in love with reading. It was also a curse because I also never wanted to read anything else. I didn't think any fantasy would ever be as good as Harry Potter, and I still deal with that now. But this series made me fall in love with reading. It makes me like emotional kind of thinking about it, how much I love, just how many memories I have wrapped up in this series. It's crazy. It's just like, I remember, I'm getting off track now, this video is gonna be so long, but I remember going and seeing that last movie and then just feeling like after that movie was over, I felt like my childhood was like over. Like, it was like, this was my childhood. Like, reading the books, waiting for the movie to come out, reading the book, waiting for, and then when that was over, like, it was really emotional for me, let me tell you. So the next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? Well, lucky for me, my favorite booktuber, I'm actually really good friends with her, and like I'm friends with her on Facebook, and it's Kayla, Lala from Books and Lala. So luckily, I could like just ask her my questions, but just in general, some general questions that I wonder and think to myself is, how do you come up with such great content? How do you keep track of like all the books you're reading and like what you want to say about each book? Like, do you write notes while you're reading? I know like Kayla uses sticky notes, which I think is so clever. But how do you keep track of what you want to say? How do you not spend your whole life fortune on buying books? Because that's what I am thinking is going to happen to me. And it's just going to be a downward spiral where I just buy all these books and then I go homeless, but at least my family and I will have my books. We can build a house out of books to give us shelter. So the last question is, what challenge do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think the biggest challenge for me, not so much this summer, but starting August, will be balancing my career with reading, with filming, with editing, with posting, with staying active in the booktube community while still circling back and making sure that I'm also doing what I need to do as a teacher, getting my stuff done. So just like time management, but people do it all the time and I know it's possible, so I'm not too worried about it. I just know that it will be a challenge, that I'll just have to do a lot of planning. I really like how some booktubers, they plan out like what days they're gonna film this and when they're gonna spend time on that, and that's probably just what I'm gonna have to do. So yeah. Okay guys, thank you for sticking with me. If you stayed through the end and watched me ramble on for this long of a time, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I look forward to posting more videos and getting to know you guys and you guys getting to know me and reading books and talking about books and just everything bookish. Happy reading!